On April 15, 1912, the RMS Titanic, operated by the White Star Line, met its unfortunate end after being struck by an iceberg in the North Atlantic Ocean. This resulted in the tragic loss of over 1,000 lives that was on board that ship. Although it has inspired countless works of fiction and nonfiction, there are several aspects of the incident that still remain a mystery. In this video, we'll discuss some mysterious photos taken on the ship before it met its ugly end. And in number 1 is the picture showing passengers waiting to board the ship. When Harland and Wolff announced the construction of a ship so large it could carry over 2,000 passengers, indicating that it would be the largest ship in existence at that time, many people couldn't wait for it to be completed so that they could be part of the historic trip. Some wealthy people even paid for their tickets long before the ship was completed. Who wouldn't want to be a part of history? Little did they know it would end in tragedy. On April 10, 1912, the ship was ready to set sail. This picture captured a long line of passengers waiting their turn to board the vessel. The image is a snippet of the number of those who boarded the ship. People leaving Southampton, England to America, Canada, and Scandinavia. So it was definitely a really long line. Although the picture didn't capture the facial expressions of the people on the line, one can guess that they were really excited to go aboard. Reports show that over 1,500 people died when the ship sank, so it's no doubt that some of those in the picture sank with the ship. Number 2. The boy on the Titanic's deck. This particular image might move you to tears because it shows an innocent child playing on the deck, not knowing what lay ahead. The child in the image was later identified as 6-year-old Robert Douglas Spedden. He was a first-class passenger from a wealthy family, and he was returning to his home in Tuxedo Park, New York, alongside his family. According to reports, he had been one of the lucky children to survive the calamity. But unfortunately, 3 years later, he was a victim of a ghastly car accident. In the third picture, we can see the Titanic's captain and the purser. This image showing the captain of the ship, Edward J. Smith, alongside the purser, Hugh Walter McElroy, was taken by a passenger who was lucky to alight from the ship days before the disaster struck. Both the captain and the purser didn't survive the accident. On the day of the incident, the captain had followed his usual Sunday routine. He carried out an inspection of the ship, checking if everything was intact. However, he made some deadly mistakes that cost many people their lives. That morning, he was supposed to carry out a scheduled safety drill. Rather, he led a worship service and foregoed the drill. Then, in a meeting he held with his officers afterwards, he ordered the ship to keep moving at full speed despite the concerns raised. That order was the reason the ship couldn't be steered away from the iceberg when it was spotted at a distance. It's believed that the captain jumped into the ocean with a baby in an attempt to save the child's life, but we don't know how exactly he died. The fourth picture shows the first-class dining room. Although the Titanic ended up in the bottom of the ocean, one thing is for certain: Harland and Wolff spared no expense in building the ship, especially the parts designated for the first-class passengers. And it's evident in the Titanic's dining room design. This dining room holds a place in history as the largest ever constructed. It could comfortably accommodate over 500 people, simultaneously covering the width of the ship with a length of 114 feet. The theme of this grand space had an elegant theme that greatly appealed to the affluent. The dining's menu was so exquisite and fit for a king. Delicacies such as succulent lobster, Egyptian quails, fine caviar, juicy peaches, and tasty fruits were served fresh. Besides that, there were always orchestras playing soothing music in the background to amplify the ambiance of the room. Those in the first-class compartment led a life of luxury, even on the ship. At least they got to live a beautiful life before they met their tragic end. The next picture also shows another exotic part of the boat. Number 5. The Titanic's gymnasium. Titanic was a beauty in and out. Even the third-class compartment was better than that of most ships. But one remarkable amenity of the ship was its gymnasium. Those who designed the ship put everything into consideration to make it very comfortable. The gym was equipped with rowing machines, exercise bikes, and even a mechanical horse for those who enjoy horse ride. In the picture, we can see female attendees wearing velvet dresses and overcoats, while the men were also fully dressed. As intriguing as this picture is, it's clear evidence that no matter the amount of rowing and exercising did nothing to help the first-class passengers who had access to the gym. This next picture also shows another intriguing part of the boat. But before that, if you're enjoying this video, kindly leave a like and subscribe to our channel. Number 6. The swimming pool. The swimming pool on the Titanic was located on the middle deck, and it was one of the notable amenities on the ship. However, it was referred to as a swimming bath. As large as it was, the ship had strict rules on its usage. Third-class passengers and young children were not allowed in the pool for any reason. The ship also didn't allow both genders to use the swim bath at once. Each gender had designated hours, and it came at a cost. However, the sad reality is that those who survived the disaster and had access to the pool would not remember it fondly because it would serve as a reminder of the tragic incident. The next picture shows the life jackets or belts that did nothing in saving the occupants of the ship. Number 7. Titanic's life vests. This picture was found in the photo album of a lucky passenger who got off the ship before it sank. In a bid to ensure safety of its passengers, the Titanic made the life vests available for all passengers on board, including the crew members. But the truth is that they were flimsily made and did nothing in protecting those who had them on. These vests were made with canvas and cork, which was secured with fabric string. They were very heavy, so those who jumped into the water with them became unconscious immediately they hit the water due to broken necks or ribs. However, the disaster led to the search for better substitutes for the materials used in making the life vest. And after World War II, the life vests had gotten a new design. The next picture also shows the insufficient lifeboats on the ship. Number 8. Insufficient lifeboats. Record shows that at the time the boat sank, there were 324 people in first class, 285 people in the second class, and 709 people in third class. So when we add the crew members of the ship, they were roughly 2,000. So let's do a quick math. The lifeboats on the ship were a total of 20, and each of them could carry 65 passengers comfortably. So 20 multiplied by 65 gives 1,300, meaning 1,300 out of about 2,000 could have been saved. If that number of people were saved, there would have been less of the disaster that ensued that day. The Titanic had adhered to the Merchant Shipping Act of 1894, which states that every ship weighing over 10,000 tons should have 16 lifeboats capable of accommodating 990 people altogether. But the Titanic weighed almost 50,000 tons and knew it was best to have more boats, so it made available 20 lifeboats. However, when the catastrophe struck, it did nothing in helping over 1,000 of people who died that day. First, the captain didn't conduct the drill to let people know how to calmly get on board the lifeboat. Then the lifeboat, that wasn't enough in the first place, couldn't carry the 65 passengers it was designed to carry due to the mechanism used in lowering it down. For example, the very first boat only carried 25 people because it was feared that anything more than that would cut the ropes. Then there was also the fact that the women and kids in the first-class compartment were allowed to go first, meaning that a large number of people in the lower compartment died that day. It was such a horrible incident. But 2 years later, the International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea came up with a law ordering every passenger ship to provide lifeboats for every individual on board. If only they didn't wait for the disaster to happen before coming up with the law. In the next picture, you'll get to see the icy cold water the victims were subjected to. Number 9. An image of the icy cold water before the disaster. Days before the incident, a photograph had been taken of the icy waters of the North Atlantic Ocean. From the picture, one can't really see how cold it is, but the water temperature was around 28 degrees Fahrenheit. That is equivalent to -2 degrees Celsius. Those that fell into the water couldn't last 30 minutes before being overcome by hypothermia, cardiac arrest, or other cold water-related problems. The coldness of this water made it harder for people to survive and be rescued. Those that fell into the water and still survived must have been pulled into a lifeboat right after. If you have seen the 1997 movie on Titanic, you can paint a picture of how people froze to death in the water. Those who survived must have had constant nightmares for years after. And the last, but definitely not the least, is the image of the reason behind it all. Number 10. An image of the iceberg that caused the damage to the ship. We all know that it was an iceberg that struck the sides of the ship and caused it to sink, but many people were not aware that someone might have captured a picture of the exact iceberg. 2 days before the incident, the captain of another ship crossing the Atlantic had taken a picture of a huge iceberg, and after the incident, the captain made it known that the coordinates of the iceberg matched that of Titanic when it sank. The seaman, whose name was Captain W. Wood, was really into photography, and when he captured the image, he had jotted down the coordinates. So when that of the Titanic was released, he immediately sent it to the press. However, several people also came forward with images of other icebergs, so we can't say which exactly was the culprit. Till this day, the story of the Titanic still sends shivers down the spine of many. And looking through these images makes it harder to shake off the sad feeling that comes with hearing about it. We hope you enjoyed this video. Click on the screen for more content like this. We'll see you there.